All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Hearing none, passes. Presentation of bills. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the bills and get the bills paperwork taken care of?
I'll move to approve.
Levi makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mike seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. And presentation of bills passes. Disconnects in June.
I'll move to approve the disconnect.
Okay, Levi makes a motion. Dave seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. City Commissioner reports. Sean, it's getting towards the end for you, so we'll let you start.
Nothing exciting. I did notice that there's going to be a education for Missouri River, so we'll probably want to get somebody to that. It's in September, so that's a good time to educate them
Yep.
so they understand that. That's it, though.
Okay, Mike?
We have a variance that the planning and zoning approved today for the Eagle project. I went over and talked to some of the neighbors there, and they were okay with the variance on that, so we need to have an approval from the commission on that.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and make, do I have a motion to take and approve the variance on, I can't remember the address, Mike?
It's 605 Hill Court.
Okay. And this was the one for the shed that was going to be a little bit higher that we wanted to make sure. And the neighbors, basically for the recording, didn't object. So if I could get a motion for approving the variance.
I'll make a motion.
Dave makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Sean seconds. Any discussion? Sean?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes,
Dave?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
And a yes for me.
that's all I got.
Okay, Dave?
The only thing I had was the holes in the street where the street dance was. We drove those big long posts and now we got 4-foot drain holes in the street up and down. I just wanted to get it on the record to make sure that they're taken care of this week, because if we get some rain, that's going to act just like a funnel down into the base of the road, and we're just going to have troubles. So I would like to see that corrected this week sometime.
Okay. And Dave, I want to make sure we get it on the recording, and Ashley's here now too, that we're talking about the holes where the tent pegs were on the street over there. We want to make sure that we fill those with the tar. And so if we could coordinate with Jim, and then we'll take and make sure that we have that taken care of. So on Dave's request for that to happen. Anything else, Dave?
No, that's it.
Levi? I hear they're filling the pool up today, huh?
They got filled today. It is actually full. Kathy said it actually filled in less than 24 hours, and normally it takes anywhere from 36 to 48 hours. So
You might have got those leaks then.
might have got the leaks.
Nice.
Maybe. She said that when they pulled the liner out, you could see the felt that was underneath. You could see exactly where the water was, and chlorine was coming out. So I think we got that, hopefully. She was going to mark it today after she finished filling, and we'll see how far it drops, and then we'll know kind of where we're going from there. I was going to ask tonight for a new cover, because our cover is getting also on its extended usefulness. It's going to be about $5 to $6 grand for that cover, but it's 6 to 8 weeks out for a new cover to come in. So I think we'll hold off until next year for that, because it's, by the time we get it, we'll be almost done.
Okay.
So, but just remember that's another thing that we'll probably be looking at here in the next year. We have enough extra material. I think they brought it either here or at City Hall for paint, that we can do the kiddie pool or the little pool with the same material as we did in the big tool, so that should help. Jack figured out that he didn't need as much as he had thought, or it worked a little bit better. But if you get a chance, It looks really good. I want to thank everybody who helped out. For the record, the Boy Scouts came down and helped out. The Onuses came down. Wendy and Darren came down and helped out. And Bruce Bowersox and his wife also came down and helped out, along with several others, to make sure we got it up and done. So
You still having trouble with the lifeguards? You want to make a statement so we can get it in the paper?
we're still having trouble, but if anybody read the Grand Forks Herald last week, it's a nationwide shortage. So I will say I don't know what we're going to do for lessons this year yet. We're still trying to figure that out. Hopefully we'll have lessons, or we should have lessons, but it's going to depend on how many lifeguards we actually can get. The other thing that I was out with Larry Mueller out at the airport, and he mentioned this, so I looked into it. Airborne Vector is actually out at the airport now. So I had him just put together a quote for us to see what it would cost to do the city. This is no contract or anything by any means, and we can fill it out. It could be as needed, but you can see it's about $2,000 to do the whole city. Not that we need to do it every time, but it would be another option for us to use, for Jim to use in his toolbox. And you can see the green is where he proposed, if you look at the map, the green area that they proposed for the map area. There is a fee for taxing up to the city. Luckily, we're only $50 taxing from, so that's pretty easy. But basically what we have to do is the authorization of our application if we want to do it. That just authorizes them to file the paperwork with the state. And same thing with the other two applications, or the other piece of paper is just to allow them to send them into the state so that we can look into it. So I just thought I'd bring it to you.
Is Jim aware of it, Levi?
I haven't had a chance to talk to Jim. I just got back on vacations.
I think in the past, they kind of worked with Jim and them on that, and did, when they do the mosquito count, and if, it gets to a certain point. Because I think we had another company in the past too, I wonder if it was out of Halston that.
This is the same one that moved to the airport?
Okay.
Yep.
And they were kind of on standby also, kind of like what you proposed there.
And he didn't say anything about that, so maybe we haven't had him for a few years.
We haven't used them for a while, but
Yeah, this year it's so dry we don't have much of a problem.
Right. But I thought it might be, especially it would be nice for, like, if we would have lots of mosquitoes before Hillsborough Days, that would have been a nice time to do it, or before the 4th of July or some of those holidays, so.
Let's hold on to it, Levi, and then when Jim gets back, we'll take and visit with him about that.
And like I said, if you want to approve signing, all it does is they send in the application. It doesn't mean that we have to, and it says right in there, by signing, it's not a contract, you're not committing to spraying. It's just authorizing us to get the paperwork sent in, because he said sometimes it can take a while to get taken care of, depending on how state agencies work.
so if we do this now, do we have to re-sign next year? Is this, if we use them next year? Or?
It looks like it expires on October 31st, 2021.
Which is, I guess, no big deal either.
Right. So it looks like it's a yearly thing, so, but like he said, it's not that we have to use them, it's just for them to authorize them to send in their paperwork so that we could use them if needed, and then we can talk to Jim about it. And the last thing, I just opened up my mail, and it looks like we are having some more proposed work. This is from SRF out of Fargo. They're proposing some correction and drainage from milepost 101 to about the 112. They're doing some crack seal overlayment, sub-elevation corrections. Then our pedestrian bridge is proposed on here, and a couple ramp areas and structure improvements are on here. I believe the Goose River Bridge, I can pass that around for you guys to look at. I don't know why
I think we all got
Yeah, we all got
did.
one.
Yep.
what's great.
I appreciate that. I didn't want to cut you off in your...
But it was good information.
Thank you. You should have cut me off a long time ago. Well, the last time I got it, nobody else did.
Anything else, Levi?
No, that's it.
And all I have is at the airport, the hangars are going up, and the weather's been cooperating. We haven't had any problems out there, like the past where we've gotten 6 inches of rain. So progress has been made on the parallel taxiway, the east-west taxiway, and like I say, the hangars are going up, and we've got people already signed up for them. So that's all I have. So Jim's not here. John, I guess you're up.
Quickly tonight, I now have the signatures on the agreement that was previously approved by Hillsborough and East Central Regional Water District. And so I'll get that one to Ashley, signed copy, and I'll get the Riverwalk development agreement with all the attachments to Ashley. I'd hoped to have done that by tonight and just didn't make it, but anyway, we should be wrapped up on Riverwalk in terms of city responsibility for work, and then of course we go forward with the improvement district work, which will be assessed to the project. And you saw my email tonight, I think about 6 o'clock, the email came in that the letter of credit is now approved and was emailed to City Hall, and so I think the goal will be that Celine Brothers will be starting to work on Riverwalk a week from now.
And I think the only question that Jim had today, just for the rest of the commissioners, was on the green spaces, there's going to be in-ground sprinkler systems. And Jim just wanted to make sure that who would have to take and do the blowout and the electrical connections. And it was explained that it wasn't going to be difficult. There's an electrical at each one of the green spaces, and that blowing them out is not a big deal. It's kind of you don't have to get the big compressor the way it sounded to take and do it. So that was the only thing I think that I remember that Jim wanted to clarify. And that's mostly like in the gates. The other thing that they decided to do was not to build the expensive gate to keep the cost of the project down. So that was, I think, about the only things that were really discussed from our side, right, Ashley?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I just looked at the email as John was talking about it. So then those copies that I have sitting on my desk, I can send those out now?
Well, I don't even know if you have to do that. You can talk to Mr. Lowry tomorrow about that. I think that he
probably did it.
He sent copies
Right.
for Celine Brothers to sign, and I think he'll consider that good enough.
Okay,
But if he wants you to send the originals, well, he can tell you that.
okay. I'll call him tomorrow.
Yeah, and if he doesn't know, then check with Danelle, and I'm not sure they both are always on the same page from what I saw tonight about 6 o'clock, but
Right.
we're going the right way.
Is that the one from Zoe then?
This is the letter of credit.
Yep. Is that the one that John sent or Zoe sent?
Well, John sent it, but Zoe sent it to John.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's why John did it right afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, good job on everything that happened and finally getting this closed up after we voted on it and stuff. So I know that John and Ashley have been busy with all the paperwork, so good job. Anything else, John?
That was it?
Perfect. Ashley, you're up.
Okay, Paul from Greenway, he'd like to have a ribbon cutting ceremony and something in the Forum and the Grand Forks Herald for the EV charging stations. I don't know if that's something you guys wish to discuss tonight, or if you have to vote on it, or...
Yeah, I've been talking to Paul because what we're trying to do is to synchronize the ribbon cutting for Hillsborough with the ribbon cutting at the Roberts Common in Fargo and get multiple media exposures on it. So Last I talked to Paul was last week. We were on a call last week. And so I think it's a good idea. It's free media coverage for us that they'll help arrange. It's through ChargePoint, and some of those will get involved in it. I would like to know, though, just so that we, as a commission, know how often it gets used so that we can kind of brag it up every once in a while. And since we're giving it free, but we still should be able to see on the
Yep,
software.
we can.
So
Yep. I
that's
haven't
something.
checked it this week, but I try to check it weekly,
Okay.
and off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was last week, but I can look again tomorrow.
Perfect. Yeah, about once a month, it'd be nice to kind of get credit for it and get out there on it.
How
So,
much use is it getting? Not sure, or?
It depends on the week, I guess. I can see if I can pull it up on this, but I don't have a password saved.
You don't have to do it right now, I was just curious.
Should be-
yeah, because I think the more we talk about it, the better it'll be. Yeah. So I'll continue to work, and then once we nail down that date, I know that they're doing one in Bismarck too. So, when I hear more, I'll take and shoot an email out to everybody so that you know. Okay, what else, Ashley?
And then I just got an email from Mark Forseth with, as I was at my kids' game, so I got it on my phone, so it's not printed out, I'm sorry, for a proposal for the live streaming for all the equipment that we would need for, so it'd be one laptop, one main camera, one crowd camera, 2 video capture devices, 2 tripods, 1 sound and soundboard, 1 miscellaneous cord, 1 set install and training. That all comes to, and I think that's just a one-time cost of $5,160. And then the price is a total to not exceed $5,160. We have several options to make this work. Certain cameras can be used to eliminate other options of equipment, or other portions, of equipment. This can lead to easier setup, but less video and sound quality. YLE, I'm not sure what vendor that is, will work with the city to provide the best mix. Part 2 is the scheduling. YLE will set up and schedule all public meetings as requested by the City of Hillsborough on YouTube and to the YLE website. Oh, your live event, that's what YLE stands for, will provide a YouTube link back to the city for its use to post where it sees fit. Scheduling would be $100 per month. So it sounds like the $51.60 is a one-time fee to get everything, and then after that, it'd be $100 a month, if I'm reading this proposal correctly.
That's what I thought too. So, again, I think that there's been a lot of questions about why we haven't been streaming recently. One of the feedbacks, I think, in the email also is that some people weren't able to hear the microphones, so they wanted to see if there would be other options for microphone placement and stuff. But I guess now that we have the cost, and we did the dry run to take and get the concept down, I think it's probably worth follow through now and pay for the equipment, have them come and do the training. The way I understood it too, Ashley, is that once we're trained, then we have to be the ones to set it up and do it.
That was my understanding from Mark's email.
So that's going to be kind of a little bit more work on our part, but and we're probably going to have to put it up and tear it down with the way that the community center is being rented out now too. So, but what do the other commissioners think? And if you think it's worthwhile, and we'll have to get a motion and go through the process.
We have gotten a lot of phone calls and messages asking if it's going to be live streamed. A lot of people seem to have liked that.
I think that's what the taxpayers want, and I think that's what we should give to them.
Especially in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve for.
He's saying that we can just sit home and watch it.
We might as well YouTube the whole thing, yeah. So Levi makes the motion then,
Yeah, I'll second it.
and Dave makes the second. Any other discussion? Sean?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
And a yes for me. fast typer, aren't you?
That's why I type not right.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Okay. Sean, anything from Steve at all?
Nope, Ashley, you and Steve talk about the fireworks?
As I was running by him in the 5K, he said he'd email me and I didn't hear back from him.
Okay,
But-
I think it's just, I mean, it's kind of a play by ear depending on conditions, so, if we're in a red flag, it would be a no, but if it's other than that, so it's, I think it's really gonna be a play it by ear,
Okay.
Next week.
yeah, so.
Chance on Thursday and next week.
Julie
Keep my
just
fingers-
told me to put it on there because she said the city plays a part in it or something.
Right.
I'm new to all this.
I mean,
so.
it's ultimately our decision, I guess,
Yeah.
but.
We pay for the guys to shoot them off.
Right.
And then we got the audit that we'll talk about when we get to new
Yep.
business. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, so the second reading of the Sunday Brew Flex Pace loan.
Move for a second reading of the Sunday Brew.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
And Mike seconds. Any other discussion? Sean?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Audit update, and again, I want to take and compliment specifically Ashley and Julie that they've been doing the yeoman's work on all this, but I'll let you kind of talk about the report now that we've gotten it back.
Okay. We got the report back, and I'm not allowed to, it can't be public knowledge until we look over everything, and there's this sheet that I have to sign before it can come to the commission. We got, was it five?
I think it
Five
was.
recommendations. Part of it, we had to go through it and decide if we agreed with the reasoning of the recommendation. We did send one back because it said that we didn't have proper procedures in place, and me and Julie and Terry didn't feel that was adequate. We felt that due to Banyan being part of it and the transition of a new auditor between 2017 and 2018, we didn't feel that we felt that had a big reason to why there were not certain procedures put into place, because it was changing hands and people do things differently, and then like I said, also transitioning from reconciling paper versus the Banyan system. And so they put that in there because we didn't feel that it basically said the city just didn't have anything in place, and they did at the time. It's just transitioning of hands, things changed.
We also added training to that particular write-up.
Right.
That, again, between the transition and not having the training, we just weren't prepared to get all the details down.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the findings, I think the last one, just about every city gets it, it's kind of a new fraud oversight type of a procedure. So we asked them to take and provide that kind of their procedures so that we can kind of implement that on our own. So, but just about every city has been getting that since it's so new, so.
So the next meeting, it should be completely closed out, and I will be able to publicly share the whole document with everybody.
And in the meantime, it's went back now to the auditors. Once Ashley gets that, they approve our feedback back to them, then she can send it out to each one of the commissioners to take a look at. And then we'll have that conversation then at the next commission meeting. All in all, the numbers, once the paper was done, there was no discrepancies. And Banyan, again, the one big item that kind of caught us that Mark and Ashley found is that we paid twice for the sheriff's service. And once that mistake got into Banyan, it just kept growing, so.
In the system, we
Yeah.
actually did not actually paid them twice, but in the system,
System, yeah.
it doubled up somehow.
So, and then the paper re-verified that, so that's the way that they caught it, so. And I recommended to Ashley, and I think her and Julie are in full support of it, that we just keep doing the paper ones, and then we can load the information into Banyan. It doesn't have to, you know, we know that it's right, so that we can make sure that it's all taken care of up front, so. So again, good job.
Thank you.
Moving on now, unless there's any questions from the commissioners. Moving on to new business, first reading of the liquor license amendment for the microbrew pub.
I'll make a motion.
Dave makes a motion,
I'll second it.
and Mike seconds it. Any other discussion? Sean?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
And a yes for me? Or maybe,
You gotta abstain.
yeah.
Ben?
The 4th of July fireworks discussion. So I think, Sean, you hit it on the nail right away. That if it's a red fire, you know, that we probably won't, well, we won't do it. But how do we want to take and set it up to make that determination so that we can make the motion to take and, yes, we'll approve the fireworks, but how far out do we have to do the decision? 72 hours, 2 days?
Red flag comes out every morning, so it, I mean, it truly, we would have less than 24 hours. I think it would be just few of us that, if we're gonna make that motion, is that there is a red flag warning the day of, to have no fireworks.
Yeah. Now, the only question that I wanted to have
And there's
is,
time in there too, I mean, because sometimes it's noon to 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
or, you know what I mean, so it's,
I guess where I wanted to have a discussion though is, you know, paying for the fireworks. And if we look like we're pretty dry a week out, is there any ramifications, or is there anything that we should think about for a cost savings? Can we carry it through to the next year if we don't use it this year? Do we have an alternate date? I guess that's the only concern I have is it's probably quite a little bit of money that gets spent for that fireworks display. And, you know, again, if they can't fire them off, is there a way that we can use them next year, or an alternate date that we say, hey, when it's wet enough that we don't have to worry about it? I just wanted to get the commissioners' opinions and find out what you guys think.
I think we could have an alternate date, or, you know, if the fire department,
how soon do they buy the fireworks? Dave, do you remember?
No, I really don't. You're on the street.
I was-
Owls would.
yeah,
I think that'd be the big thing, is find out when we're,
When we have to commit,
you know,
can we take in, so it's Tom that we have to talk to? Let's go ahead and get a hold of Tom and find out what options he would prefer to have.
Okay, and
and we're
then,
not gonna have, we're gonna
I
have
was
to
gonna
make.
say, do we have a special meeting then?
I'll move that we purchase the 4th of July fireworks. And if it's a red flag warning, the fire department will determine whether or not they can set it off. If it cannot go off that day, then they'll determine another date that we can shoot them off, whether it be homecoming or some other type of event. Again,
the
that-
alternate is a good idea. Yep,
And that covers us all the way around.
yep, I think so.
Yeah, if you shoot them off a week later, I guess.
Okay. So Levi's made the motion. Do we have a second to the motion? Dave seconds the motion. Any other discussion? Sean?
Yes.
Mike? Dave?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
And a yes for me.
I do have something to bring up.
Okay?
So I was contacted by a resident of Hillsborough that I think also talked to Mike too. So I sent her his direction, but they had a gate valve that was in the boulevard that belongs to the city. It broke off, ended up ruining their lawnmower because of it. Is that something that we are going to pay for, is what they're asking? Because it was technically it's city property. And it wasn't that the gate valve was, they had called several times, talked to Jim and other people about it, never got fixed. Eventually it broke off, and I forgot to bring it, but I have it at home. The top of the gate valve is broke off, it's all rusty. And ended up going up in her push mower and costing $500-600 to get it replaced.
The gate now is in the street,
in the boulevard.
oh, in the boulevard, okay. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
got one by.
And now
Yeah.
when you got fixed
That's what I
today,
was-
so,
He didn't see it when he went over it?
huh?
He didn't see it when he was mowing?
You don't always see that stuff. Just speaking from experience, you don't always see
It
that
was laying in the
stuff.
grass because it broke off, fell down.
Oh,
I mean, I'm just asking because we pay for, if the power goes out at somebody's house that causes damage, this would be no different. Be no different than one of our pickups hitting a rock and
so they had to buy a new one, they couldn't repair the old one?
they're repairing the old one because they couldn't get a new one. It was cheaper to get a new one than to repair the old one. But they couldn't get a new push mower.
What do you guys think?
Well, that'd be an insurance reserve issue anyway, wouldn't it, Ashley?
I would think
And
so.
her?
I would have to talk to
What is
Julie.
the threshold though? Is it worth making the claim or not, probably?
Right.
The
I don't,
deductible, yeah.
I mean,
off the top of my head, I don't know what our deductible is. I'd have to
How
ask
much are we
Julie.
talking? And
It was that, it's up at Wrights, she said it was 500-600, I couldn't remember the exact number. But it basically bent the shaft on the motor, had to replace the motor. She was gonna just get a new push mower, but Wrights don't have any, and they couldn't get any in, so.
So they said they talked to Jim about it?
She left a message with Jim and never got a message back. And she said her and the neighbor have been talking, have asked city crews since 2007 to get it fixed.
Well, let's put that on the infrastructure, that we have to take and do repairs, just like the electrical. We're gonna have to go around and start looking at, I noticed that in the streets, we're popping a lot of the water. They're popping up and down too, so something, I know that they're marked as we're doing the street inventory. But I guess if this is damage and it's due to it breaking off and being in the boulevard, we probably should cover it.
Well, mine stuck up in my yard, I had a mower around it.
No, this
All
wasn't
you
stuck
do is go
up.
out there and hammer it down, it's on its sleeve.
No,
You
it
can hammer
didn't,
down, drive over it.
it wasn't stuck up. It actually broke off. It was laying in the grass.
That must have really been rusted if it broke off. What do you guys think?
on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
Gotta be, I mean, I get it that it's our property, but at the same token, you're not paying attention to what you're mowing over is,
How about half of it?
I don't know without talking to the individual, but I mean, you also have to look at that this individual did try to reach out several times since 2007 to get it fixed.
and I don't disagree, I think that is appalling all by itself, but the fact that you can't, if you know it's in your grass, if not pick it up, maybe I'm overly simplifying this, but I'm not gonna run over a baseball that is in my front yard either, and that happens quite often, so I mean, if you're paying attention to what you're doing, it shouldn't be that big of a factor.
Yeah, if they knew it was basically there. Yeah, I'm straddling the fence on it too.
Can we table this one then, Levi, and have
Sure.
some more conversation, bring it back up in the commission meeting next time?
Sure. As long as it's put on old business.
I'd like to, find out about, talk to Jim too and find out.
We should check with insurance reserve, though, I think, and see what we need to do if we decide to approve it.
Okay. Anything else? Open it up to the citizens. Chuck?
Come here with nothing in mind. I do appreciate it. Thank you for going to air the commission meetings. Myself, I guess I'll certainly appreciate it. Going back to what you just brought up, and I don't have no bones, no dogs in the show, but the sidewalk up in front of the drugstore, the city's water shut-off thing is about an inch on top of the cement. I know it's painted yellow, orange, or whatever, but can't that be leveled off, or if nothing else, put a post there so somebody don't trip over it again? Take a look at it, just walk by and look at it.
This kind of goes back to what we were saying. We're going to have to take and look at all those the water, infrastructure to make sure that everything's up, because we shouldn't be having those popping up in the street like they do either. I know that I have to go the rounder one over by the Catholic Church all the time because it keeps popping up, so, but,
Where we live in, that's the problem.
yeah. But that's one where we should drive around and actually look and make notes and kind of prioritize like we did the electrical and look what we can do. So I'll make a note to do that, Chuck.
Like I say, I got no dog in the fight, I just don't want somebody to break a leg and point a finger at the drugstore, which ain't their fault.
Yep.
And, another thing, as long as we're talking about driving around and looking at things, and I don't know what does it, between the North Dakota wind, maybe a little snow blowing. We got a lot of street signs, 12th Avenue, 14th Street, that are at about a 3 o'clock angle, 2:30 angle. Why can't we designate? And I don't know who puts up street signs, suppose the county got stuck with that, but we can at least get them straightened and looking decent.
Yep, what we did there, Chuck, is we're doing an inventory on all the streets so we can prioritize which ones we're going to take and address first. And the signs, the street signs are a part of that process.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
that's excellent. But,
So-
it's like I say, I can find myself around the town fine, but it just looks like we're lacking a little ability to keep things in line.
Yeah, the thing is, the city doesn't have the equipment to do sign work. That's one of the big problems.
I can understand that to a degree. I still think a person or two people could straighten the sign with a payloader or a
Absolutely.
backhoe machine.
Absolutely.
Because it ain't the fact they're falling out of the ground. It's not anybody's fault here that they're bent over a little bit, but, let's-
Yeah, I think if we're going to have street signs, we might as well be able to read them too.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, Jim and John and our engineers have been doing an assessment, because I've been talking to them, and I'm just hoping that we get a report pretty soon on what we're gonna do. They're supposed to be doing assessment on the streets, the signs, things like that, so.
You say an assessment on the streets, are they talking about raising up sewer drains and,
All I know is they're doing an assessment. Jim and John and the engineers are working on it, and
AE2S is down doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that report, and then that'll allow us to prioritize the worst case ones that have to get done. But yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, so,
I understand that, that's no
yeah.
problem.
Anything, one thing I would like to take and mention, Hillsborough Days was, I think, a pretty good success this year. And I'd like to just do a shout out to JR and Paul. Gary, I know you were all over the place too, that, there's a couple outstanding. Sheila was another one that they volunteered for everything that was going on. So, Michelle, if you could just mention in the paper that the city of Hillsborough really thanks the HBA and the folks that were really involved there to take care of that. So, I thought that was a good job. So, if there's nothing else heard, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Oh, Mike,
Oh, yeah.
It seems
Oh, yeah.
Tom.
we need to
Sorry,
advertise for somebody.
he came in that last minute. Tom Keeney put in his resignation today. He is hoping he has opportunities to move, he said, so I'm assuming closer to kids, so.
Another house for sale. Sean's is for sale and,
Well, he lives in Shelley, so.
oh, okay, well then we're not losing.
Yeah, so he'll be done at the end of the month, June 30th, so do we need to put in for a part-time custodian for the armory here and possibly City
The
Hall?
community center and city hall.
Yep.
Yeah, and he used to do the airport too, if I remember right.
That I don't know.
So, what do you think? Do we have to advertise right away, or how do you want to take and you want to decide if there's?
I would do it sooner than later.
Yeah,
So, so we got,
I think last time we did it, I don't think we got any else.
I'm wondering if we could team up with the school and see if there's a way that one of their custodians could work. No?
We tried that one.
They were having a hard time finding one. They didn't get any applicants for a full-time man.
Okay.
And if you go, because Julie and I were talking about this, if you hire somebody that owns their own cleaning business, I can tell you from experience, they're not going to charge less than $25 to $30 an hour. I never did when I had mine. And then you have to 1099 them.
What were we paying Tom? Was it like 16, 18?
18 something, I think, with his raise. I do believe. I'd have to double check, but I know it's around the
How many
$18.
hours was he putting in on a?
Might have a candidate somewhere.
You want to do it, Dave?
We don't have to advertise now.
Right. Are you interested, Dave?
That'd be a nice little walk for the dog, you know? And, God, there's a lot of linkages there we can work on.
You just seem really interested.
I'm not coming out of retirement.
It is a good question. We dropped him back this last year. Wasn't it? He was doing 30 and then we dropped him back after we did the lease with Mayville State. I can't remember how many hours it was though. It wasn't a whole lot.
It's not,
I want to say 15 or something like that.
I don't remember dropping the hours.
And then I know that the airport paid him at least 2 years ago to do the FBO.
about 13 to 15 hours a month.
Yeah. Do we want to keep it at 15 or now if
Well,
they come over
he's,
here
I
and
was gonna say,
clean?
he's just doing the armory.
Yep, if they come over here and clean the community center and, you know, the city hall, that's going to probably double the amount of time.
Right.
Now, when we charge for the community center, part of that charge could be offset then to pay for the cleaning too. So what do the commissioners think?
Advertise and see what we get.
Okay.
Do we want to evaluate, I mean, I don't want to say that Des isn't doing anything, but do we want to evaluate, is it to add it into that position? Do we have enough? Does she have enough to be full-time or should we be adding some stuff into the position?
This summer so far, she's been pretty busy with building permits. I could talk to her about it. I don't know that that's something she'll be thrilled to do.
But on a normal, I'm not saying just the summer, is she busy 40 hours a week every week?
No.
So then why would we pay for somebody else if we have a full-time individual that we could fit it into?
Do we have to rewrite the job description?
It's not, I mean, yes, it is up to her whether, but it is our decision.
Yeah.
Do we have to
The
rewrite
armory
that?
in here?
The armory in here, and, I mean, right now Julie's doing it.
Yep, she is. Me and Julie have, Julie usually offers, I will come over and help her if I get a chance to get away from my desk. But yes, Julie has been doing over here for the most part.
Do we have to rewrite our job description to add it in if we go that route? Because
Do we have the duties as assigned? I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
I'd have to find it and look.
And then if she's doing the cleaning at the armory, would we bump her pay up a little bit to take account for that? She's probably going to have more hours than, if we go 15 to 20 hours with all this, say it's 20 hours, that's, you know, half her time. So does she
She's
have half the
also-
time available?
She's
I-
also hourly too, so if
Right.
she went over, she could.
Right. I've been trying to get a list of, because coming in still fairly new, I don't know every task that her and Julie do. I have a good idea, but I've been asking for a list of duties. And so this will give me a good reason to be like, I need them by this date, because we need to rework some things.
Okay, so that means we don't advertise until we get this, find out what options we have with Des? Okay,
Does that mean that we ask Des to
In the interim, I guess.
interim fix our work at it till we can get it figured out?
Because the armories won't have anybody after
Right.
the 30th. For the 30th. So, I mean, I don't know that.
and a lot of the heavy stuff's done by the school when they do
Some of
the,
cleaning down.
Yeah.
floor and stuff, so it's not
Right.
like
Right.
you're, waxing and polishing on everything, so.
Right, and the daycare does do some of the cleaning. It's just basically the hallways that need to get done, the main bathrooms that need to get done, and the gym, I do believe.
And getting supplies.
The last time I was
Maybe
there-
she can figure out what all those keys do.
Oh, I went through a whole ring of them one day, just trying to lock one door for when Sanford had their party. It was interesting.
Yeah,
I think the last time I was there, there was enough supplies for
A
a
long
couple of
time.
years.
Yep.
so Tom was good at what he did then.
I think that's
It came from Ray.
Tom was good and it didn't cost us anything, other than his,
Yeah.
Tom was gonna go
That's
talk
what I
to
like
Ray and
about it.
see if he wanted his part-time job back.
So we won't advertise until we talk to Des. Des can do it part-time until, if it doesn't work into her work description, then we'll have to go out and advertise, but she can cover it until then.
Okay.
Anything else? Now do I have a motion to
I'll
adjourn?
make the motion again.
Second?
Second.
We are adjourned.